Hey, what's up? I'm HypeHype. I play games, make games, and everything in between. Today we will be remixing a game in HypeHype. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more notifications. I originally remixed a CyberPunk Racetrack game for a 3-day game jam. I was able to do this quickly because I utilized the remix feature in HypeHype, which allows you to copy a game and recreate it in your own way with a cyberpunk feel. I added a grid to the floor, gems, a cool Cybertruck, DeLorean vehicle. We got random triangle columns that are just in your way, cool looking rainbow colored palm trees, black and purple railing on the sides, fun ramps to jump and collect more gems. Lastly, a cool sunset that stays in the distance. The original game was by Vechile called Dara Page Race. Simple racetrack with multiple characters. We got barrels in the way, a simple ramp. You basically just go straight through objects, jump up and down until you get to the finish line. I took this game and I selected the remix button on the right, and then I just changed all the colors, the aesthetics to create CyberPunk Racetrack 1. Today we're going to be doing the same thing, make it CyberPunk Racetrack 2. This time I thought I would use Hype Jam 6 Canyon Race. This hype is a lot more simple but has the basic building blocks to make a new racetrack. First, let's zoom in and change the camera view. To see the camera node, we want to hit the logic button on the right, zoom out, and then you'll see the camera node. We can see that the x coordinate is at 2.36, which is very similar to the character. Personally, I like to have whole numbers, round numbers, so I'm going to move the character to 0 and then just move the field around the character and line things up later. Next, we're going to want to set the camera. If we set editor view, we'll reset the camera to view what the player will see. It's important to know the difference between these two, and now there's different camera types. I suggest playing with all of them. For today, we are going to use keep behind. The next thing we want to do is add cool tiles. Go to assets, visuals, tiles, select the ... selector, grid like tiles. So let's get a pink going. Here you can see we're playing with the color wheel. The diffuse is always fun to play with. You can give it a blue shine or a different color shine. Let's call it pink glow. And since we're messing with colors, we're gonna want a glowy, cool purple, something that pops. So we're going to add a diffuse blue. Rim is a selection on the bottom that has different features. I just move these back and forth and see if it makes any kind of cool change that I like. I think bleed is a good one, and there's the shininess features. Again, I just move these around. When you move the range end behind, the color does like an inverse flip, which may or may not be what you want. For this, I don't want this. As you can see, HypeHype is very versatile and allowing you to change a lot of different things in the material colors, from shininess to the colors of the shadows. Let's go ahead and work on some blues. It's important to set up a good color palette when starting out your game so that you can make all the objects reflect the style you want to give your game. When you're building out the world, you have all the colored materials that you want. If you like playing with colors, hit that like button below. Blue and pink, I always like to use a contrast. We can see that the material looks more purple because blue and pink make purple. We're also going to need a different variations of black, between a shiny black and a super dark matted black. Maybe do a black with a pink shine to it. Ooh, this one looks good. This is really dark. Now this is cool because it makes it look pitch black, which I think I like. See how it goes in verse. I like both of these blacks. We'll call this one black, and we can get rid of all the shine. So we got dark black, and this is like a black with a gray shine. That's due to the diffuse. Now let's start adding the colors to the tile. I also want another blue. See, that is almost too black. Let's go ahead and save this. We'll call it CyberPunk Track 2 and have the hashtag racing under the descriptions. We'll also want to edit the categories. Let's go ahead and do racing casual action. We will have a leaderboard, set it to number and based on the highest number. Now that it's saved, we can go to draft and we can see it right there on the top left. Now we're going to go into the first CyberPunk racetrack and copy some items from here and take it to the new racetrack. First, we want to tap and hold somewhere on the screen, then select the items you want to take with you while holding down on that first tap. Let's take the railing on the side, some palm trees, some gems, some cones, some of those pyramids, grab the sun, and some more palm trees. Hold down on the copy button until we see objects copied. Go into CyberPunk Racetrack 2 and notice the paste button on the right hand side and select paste. Here the objects are up high on the y-axis, so let's go ahead and move it down. Looking good. Now we just need to go in and make this racetrack look more cyberpunk. Go ahead and select this. These are Tilemap objects, which is a lot of fun to play with in HypeHype. Now that we have our color palette, we can set all the objects to look more cyberpunk. I want to make this map a little bit more different, add some twists and turns, some more items, buildings, some just nice polishing features, and maybe a hidden section to collect more gems. So with the tile maps, it's very easy to paint and erase, like so. And these little blue blades of grass are also tile maps, so we can just draw, paint, and erase them with ease as well. Personally, I just think it's better to splatter them around. Let's take a look at the finish. This has the logic that ends the game, and we want to move all this further back so that we can create more of a racetrack. Hold and select everything and push it back. Let's change these railings to black and pink. Next we have the ground. We need to go to visual materials, select world. I'm gonna hit copy, select the new world, and play with the colors. I want the ground color to be dark purple, the sky to be a blue, and the fog to be a pink. Okay, that looks cool. Now this main vehicle does not look cyberpunky enough. That's not gonna work for me. Go to asset, go to visual, search for a car. This one looks good. As you can see, it's way too big. So here we have this icon is for movement, this icon is for rotation, and this one is for scaling. We're just gonna put it on top like this, make it a little bit bigger. This is only for an aesthetic look. We're gonna take this little glue image and glue it to the base model of the object, and now it's always on top. The proper way would be to change the base model itself. However, sometimes when you do this, it affects the movement of the characters, and then you have to do a lot more adjusting. There is a better way to do it, but that way takes a lot longer. It looks and works well. Now we don't want orange, maybe a midnight black. Oh, that looks cool. Let's try silver. Let's go into the color editing, try to make it a little bit more shiny. Okay, so that's like too glowy. So we kind of want a stainless steel silver. All right, getting better and better, and let's play around. Yeah, looks good. We need to change the rims and some of the final colors. Let's go to our color palette. Now let's do some tile painting. This is pretty boring but important because it is the racetrack. Tile mapping is super easy to do with HypeHype. Now I'm just going to be painting in this area as this is where the racetrack will be. Always good to save it. Now I want to go to the original CyberPunk racetrack and take a look at this red cube. It's set up as an unmovable object with collision triggers and a game end. Within here we see the collision trigger executes game end. That makes sense. Let's just go ahead and copy this, go into the new track, hit paste. Reason we can only see this cube when we select the logic button is because the visible is set to invisible. Now I would like to redo the thumbnail because everything looks a little bit more cyberpunk. As before, move the camera accordingly, select set camera to view, hit play, and on your right you have the ability to slow down the speed of the game to go fast, slow, or stop, and from here you can then select the thumbnail button and take a screenshot. From here, let's just duplicate the side railings and start creating the track. If possible, I try to have all the numbers be even so that they line up, but if not, getting it close enough will get the job done. Next, I want to take the side railing turning and put it into the map. As you can see, it's set to unmovable object. Let's take these two copies, select the rotate button. You can hit the disc on the top to rotate the object 90 degrees at a time. There we go, that's looking good. Grab these two, hit copy, rotate them. It doesn't look like there's much space for the driver to go through. It will be important to play test along the way. Before we do that, let's draw some more of the racetrack and let's test. Looking good. Next thing I want to do is add some gems, so I might as well grab some other objects from the CyberPunk track 1. Let's save it and go get those items. Before I grab the gems, I realized that these gems are actually copies. The actual gem exists inside an instance. Instances are really great when you want to have multiple objects of something all over the place. The more you become familiar with HypeHype, the better you get at knowing when to use instances and when to use just a regular object. You can see the instance of the gem, which is apparently named ball. So we should change that to gem, and because I wanted to save, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, post edit. Let's go back in, hit logic to see all the pieces, select the gem instance. Also, I want to take a look here. We see the leaderboard, we see broadcast listener, it's just sitting by itself, so let's move it up. And then we have another broadcast listener that goes here. This one keeps track of the coin. Let's grab all this and copy. It's always nice to understand what's going on, and if not, that is okay. That happens to me all the time as well. Now we got the gems, and now if we want to add gems, we just hit copy instance, and now we have a gem, and we can place this all over the map. Let's test the coin to see if it's working. Oh, and it looks like we need to add a broadcaster to the gem as the current signal out is broken. Oh, and we have a crash. HypeHype is pretty good at saving when there is a crash. HypeHype is still new and on early access, so crashes happen occasionally. Okay, it looks like everything is still here. The broadcaster is still broken. So let's add the add coin broadcast listener, and now everything is keeping track. Change the gem object to green along with the character, and now the collecting coin is working. We do have the timer going, which is annoying, and we don't need it anymore. Let's find it. Here we have these text nodes that are slightly transparent. Let's go ahead and delete it. Still have the timer, so there is a timer node somewhere in here. We'll have to find that later. Let's take a look at this finish node. It looks like there's some text we don't need. There's a cool vibrating node. Here's a leaderboard for the timer. We don't need it, so we can delete this. Let's get back to making the racetrack. Move some of these pieces out of the way. When tile mapping, the tiles can cover a lot of space, but they are eventually limited. So when needed, you'll need to copy and create a new tile map to make the racetrack longer. Let's go ahead and add the out of bounds throughout the map. Remember, if the player touches this red box, then it will restart the game. Let's move this here, and then on the left side, let's check all the different angles. We are moving around in 3D, so what looks good at one perspective may not look right in another. And if anybody tries to take a shortcut in this map, it will restart. I do want to create a shortcut later, but first let's get this out of bounds set up. Let's go ahead and put this ramp more at an angle and do some testing. Always important to test. I want it so that the player is barely able to make it. Nice. Let's take a look and just do a little finesse. It's always fun to play test a game you're making over and over again. You'd think it would get boring, but if the game is fun, then it does not. Lastly, it's cool to add fun cosmetic things like rainbow colored cyberpunk palm trees. Games with a more polished feel just tend to stand out. And we're going to do the tap and hold and select multiple objects and copy. A couple more palm trees. Alright, let's add some more gems. Next, I did like the ending finish line in the first cyberpunk racetrack. Let's go in there and grab all those items. When grabbing a lot of items, be sure to use area pickup button and select everything. Hold down copy and paste. Looks like it's floating in the air, which is not what we want, so let's move everything down and let's test it. There is a time node somewhere that we'll have to find and delete. I thought I would just make the racetrack a little bit longer, keeping things pretty straightforward. And again, always important to play test the maps. I noticed that when you hit the finish line, it took almost 1 second for the ending credits to appear. I thought that was too long, so I went and changed it to about 0.5 seconds, 0.25 seconds. Next, I noticed that we had some new assets with the HypeHype update. So I added these stairs off to the edge over here, so you kind of have to know that they exist. And I created some cyberpunk looking buildings and thought I would just add a bunch of gems on top, because this level is all about getting the gems. Playing this track, you can get stuck, but that's the price to pay for going the secret way. CyberPunk Racetrack 2 was a lot of fun to make, so check it out in the links below. If you have any questions on what I did while making this game or how you can make your own game, please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, I'm HypeHype. Stay safe out there, and peace.